Yeah. But Coach Jen here. I am excited to chat with you guys today. This is another like impromptu chat from me. Typically, I hop on here just randomly whenever I have some thoughts going through my head so that you guys can learn from them. But most recently, what I've been kind of seeing is a lot of people are not like exactly reaching their results due to the strategy and structure that they have already in place for their health and their fitness goals. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about today with you, is kind of going through that process and explaining why some structures or strategies are not going to benefit you in terms of being able to reach your goals. So that being said, before we dive in here, I am going to go ahead and open up Facebook on my phone just so I can see if any comments are popping through, because I can't see that when going live right now. And then two, if you are watching this live, please put down hashtag live squad. And if you're watching the replay, please put down hashtag replay squad. But let's go ahead and dive in here. So when it comes to your health and fitness goals, what I like to do is I like to break it down into what is like the priority here, right? So what is the priority? Well, when it comes to like weight loss and fat loss and all of that, which I think most of us in this group are here for, when it comes to that, that's going to fall under a specific category of goals. And when it comes to your category of goals, I like to break it down to 3 categories. I yawn whenever I'm talking on video. It's the strangest thing. So I like to break it down into 3 categories. The first one being a performance. So this is a performance goal. The second one being your physique or your aesthetics. So I might refer to it back and forth, but this is what you look like. And then the last one being your health, meaning like your internal health. Like this may be, you may have some hormonal imbalances. You may have some GI problems. You may have, you may just not be feeling good and you don't know why and you can't figure it out quite yet. So that's the way that I like to break down your health and fitness goals, is into those 3 categories. Now, when it comes to your fitness goals of wanting to lose weight, lose fat, etc., that's going to fall in the category of like your aesthetics or your physique, however you want to refer to it, because this is going to be about what you look like, right? And so what I see a lot of times is that most women are coming in, or most women are on their own trying to do something. They're trying to work out, exercise, get in this routine of fitness. And there's a couple things that are going wrong here, and this is what's holding you back. Number one, when it comes to what you're doing, a lot of times most people are not training for their goals. They're just not training in general. And there's a difference between training and exercising. Training, well, I'm going to explain exercising first. Exercising is just getting yourself moving, getting your heart rate up, expending effort in order to do activities, etc. It's like intentional energy expenditure, movement, things like that. So exercising, it isn't really structured. It isn't detailed. It isn't reverse engineered, as I guess I best can say. So when it comes to exercising, it's just kind of like things that you do that are active, that are just active, or just activity, physical activity, right? When it comes to training, training is more specific. Training has an end goal. It has a timeline in mind. It has like a specific goal to achieve. It has all these things where there's a detail at the end of this is what we're doing it for. And then from there, like I mentioned before, this one's actually going to be reverse engineered. So based off of that end goal that you have, then we're going to actually go backwards and create a program based off of that. And then when it comes to training, the difference between training and exercising is training is very intentional. Like you go into a training program and you go into training sessions with a very specific intention of, doing things as appropriately as possible. So it's not just like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm going to the gym just to go to the gym. No, it's like, hey, I'm going to the gym to make sure I hit my sets, reps, like you're on point with everything whenever you're typically training. So that being said, I would kind of like think about it as like, if you have that type A person, that type B person, type B is like more carefree, more relaxed, things like that. And that's exercising. When it comes to training, training is going to be like your type A. They're structured. They have goals, like they are intentional, like they want things to be a very specific way. And that's the difference between training and exercising. Okay. So most people I find they're exercising, they're doing things without like a specific strategy behind it in order to reach that goal. They're just putting things together and that's what they're doing. Okay. Now, if you are training, you may be training for one of the following again, your performance, your physique, or your health. Okay. So most likely you're probably training for your physique or your performance. Again, yawn on camera. So that being said, you might be training for your physique or your performance. When it comes to these two, a lot of people get it mixed up. And a lot of people aren't willing to trade one for the other. So you may have these goals of, hey, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 10 pounds. I've got some fat to shed, things like that. But what I find a lot of times is we get stuck into training for performance and we don't make that switch over to training for physique goals. So I'm going to read off here a little bit of my notes. But when it comes to training for performance, performance allows us to hit, again, specific goals. Again, we're training for things to achieve, right? But one of the biggest things about performance is that it really boosts our motivation. And it really, if you guys are runners, if you have ever been a runner, you might get that runner's high or that feeling of like, wow, I can't believe like I just did that, or wow, I just hit that new PR or whatever it is, which is fantastic to like get more fit, faster, stronger, things like that. But when it comes to performance goals, like I'm just going to use CrossFit as an example because a lot of people do it and a lot of people aren't willing to give up CrossFit in order to reach their physique goals. CrossFit is not going to get you to the physique that you want. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I'm saying that from a place of I've done CrossFit. I've done CrossFit like classes up until about 2 months ago. And I switched over to physique goals because that's what I needed and wanted to focus on. And I made that switch, and I made that switch intentionally because when it comes to CrossFit, especially whenever you're thinking about building a physique, CrossFit doesn't really hit every single body part that you need to hit in order to reach the typical like women's physique goals that we have. When you look at CrossFitters, yeah, a lot of them look great and they look amazing, but I want to let you know that physique goal or that physique that they have is a byproduct, meaning that when it comes to CrossFit, the goal is performance. That is the main goal. And you may receive some other benefits from it, such as like you may have improved mental health. You may have improved like physique. You may have improved relationship with food, etc. But that's not the point of CrossFit. CrossFit is to take those lifts and get better at those lifts and learn technique better and things like that. So that's what the point of CrossFit is. And that's very much performance based. And that can be the same thing for like running a marathon, or that can be the same thing for like, I'm not for sure what other programs there are, maybe like F45 and things like that. But when it comes to training for your physique is going to be the number one goal here. And when you think about like CrossFit and let's say powerlifting and marathons, etc., there are specific things that you focus on. For powerlifting, it's like deadlift, squat, bench, getting better at those. Marathon is like running a certain distance, getting better at that. CrossFit is hitting the Olympic lifts and getting better at those. When it comes to your physique goals, the literal goal is to better your physique, is to typically lose fat, gain muscle. And so when it comes to performance goals, those are typically more compound lifts and things like that. Those are the main focuses: compound lifts, squat, bench, deadlift for powerlifting, Olympic lifts for CrossFit, etc. When it comes to physique goals, you're typically working on goals that are more isolated, or exercises that are more isolated, more very body part specific, very specific body part splits, things like that. And so that's the difference between physique and performance training. Now, again, you can also have byproducts of benefits from this, such as you may have better mental health. You may have a better relationship with food. Whenever you start seeing that, like you're looking and feeling better. Can you also improve in performance? You definitely can improve in performance as well too. But at the extreme end as well, you may not be benefiting in terms of performance. We see those people who get on stage and they're stage lean. Guess what? At that point, they're not going to be lifting at their best, but they do look really great. So when it comes to like performance goals and when it comes to physique goals, like take them to the extreme. Somebody who's like, in terms of performance, they're not going to be like 18% body fat typically. They're not going to be there because they need to be able to eat and sustain that performance. So the way that they're eating is going to be different than the way that a physique person is eating. And then the person who's like shooting for their physique, they're going to be training and eating differently than that performance person. So when it comes to your goals, don't get stuck in this idea of like, hey, I'm doing CrossFit, like I'm hitting my exercises, I'm going to the gym, I'm working out, like why isn't it working for me? don't get stuck there wondering why it's not working, because that's not the goal of what that program is that you are in. That's not, your physique is not the goal. Your performance is the goal in those programs. Now come over here and talk to me and tell me, yeah, like I'm going to the gym, doing these body part splits, like things like that. Like I'm not for sure what's going on. Cool. It sounds like you're mostly on the right path, but it seems like that program just needs to be tweaked a bit and more accurately to you. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if you find yourself in the camp of, hey, I'm doing these workouts and these performances and these programs, and I'm feeling better, looking better, or I'm feeling better, I'm getting stronger, things like that. Great, cool. You've received those benefits, but you have to get away from that type of training and over to the physique training in order to see the benefits, to see like that muscle gain, fat loss, things like that. Again, physique can be a byproduct of performance in terms of benefit, but whenever it comes to actually legitimately training for your physique, that's going to be the number one goal. And performance can improve whenever you train for that physique, but you got to make sure you're in that realm of training for your physique. And so I hope that makes sense. I will say the one thing that I have found is that a lot of people don't want to make that switch from their performance style training to physique style training, because they get, again, like I'm going to refer to it as like a runner's high, but they get that, oh my gosh, I completed something that was really intense. And yeah, I completed something that was really intense. I'm so proud of myself. I accomplished this new thing. And they get so sucked into that good feeling there that they don't want to get away from it. But think about that picture where there's like Jesus and he's got your old teddy, and then he's got this new teddy in the background, right? And you're like, why are you taking my teddy? And it's like, hey, I got something better for you over here. You know, those physique goals that you have, you know, those 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds that you want to lose. Hey, look, I got them here. But you don't see that right away whenever you make that switch. You're just too tied to like, oh, I love this program. But in order to see the results of changing your physique, you got to change over to something that's going to fit for you and get you there. So, final thing I will say on this is that when it comes to achieving those physique goals, once you have achieved those goals, it doesn't mean that you have to continue to do that forever. You can go back to CrossFit. You can go back to running marathons or whatever it is. You just have to be sure that you're still utilizing some of the same principles. Like no matter what it is, you're going to receive benefit from whatever it is that you train for specifically. So if you're like, hey, you know, I've done this, I've improved my performance, I feel stronger, I feel better, great. But if it's time to focus on your physique and like lose weight, let's go over here, do this for a bit of time, achieve that goal, achieve that physique goal that you have. And then we can go and we can move around and do other things. You're not supposed to just, I don't think, because I am very growth minded, I don't think you're supposed to just hit a goal and stop and that's it. You're supposed to hit a goal, set new goals, things like that. And so training and changing your training and changing your strategies to hit specific goals is what you are meant to do. So if you are finished with this, please put down, I don't even know if you watched all this, but let me know if this was helpful for you. I hope that this was helpful. But at the end of the day, that's all I'm here to do is provide you with some extra help. And if you need help in terms of figuring out those physique goals, physique training, things like that, in order to reach your goals, please reach out to us. Leave me a comment down below, or I'll put my application down below, and our coaches can help you set those specific goals, reverse engineer so that it works for you. Because that's the whole point, is we want to make sure that you are successful. So I hope that you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will talk to you later. Bye, y'all.